Okay, I'm just going to let you know a few things about tomorrow's quiz. So if you want a piece of paper to write them down, that would not be the worst idea. So tomorrow's quiz is on 6.1b. Oh, and by the way, if anyone wants to do corrections on their test, feel free to drop by either lunchtime today or tomorrow flex or lunchtime Friday. Any of those are good, okay? Friday's quiz 6.1b, things you will have to know. You will have to tell, there were many types of substances listed in there, yes? So you would need to know for each type of substance, can it conduct? And if it can conduct, what are the moving charges? What are those moving charged particles? Okay, you should know sea of electrons. You should know that the sea of electrons, these electrons here are valence electrons. You should know what else? Okay, so for each type of substance, know if it can conduct. If it can conduct, know what the particles are that are moving. You need to know what a sea of electrons is. You need to know, if you have a conductor which is metal, you need to show how the electrons will move if there is no electric field versus if there is an electric field. And you should be able to label a diagram like that. Diagram. I don't know if there's anything else on there. Just study the rest of it as well. Yes? But those are for sure on there. Okay? Would anyone like a printout of that? Okay. I'll make several. Are we what? Yes. But not mainly on the enriched stuff. I'm not going to get too excited about it. Yes? No. We are going to be doing things. I'm just going to print that thing out, and it requires me to put it in a Word document because I don't know. It's printing weird from OneNote. Yes? I can leave some time for you to study today. Absolutely. Would you like that time now or at the end? At the end? Okay. Okay. I can also put the quiz on Monday if that is better.
Yes.
What do you guys think? No? Okay, it's staying tomorrow. No, we're having the quiz tomorrow. We're having the quiz tomorrow. After tomorrow will be what we do today. We haven't learned it yet. Okay. I'm going to make, how many of these did we want? I don't know, like 10 copies. Okay, print.
But I also kind of regret it.
Okay, if you wanted a copy of those notes, please come get a copy there.
Thank you.
What the hell? Okay. Woo. Okay, today we are going to be on 6.2a. So if you could turn to page, 22, which is 6.2a, the very first page of it, it says quantities, units, and formulas at the top. This is what it looks like at the top. And you're going to label that page number down at the bottom. You're going to label that page 22. And then you're going to label the next page, page 23. Okay? So you probably already know many quantities and their units. The reason you probably know that is you've learned them in previous grades and at the beginning of the year and in math. And at the beginning of the year, we did a whole little thing on quantities and units. So the quantity of distance. So the quantity is the thing that you measure. Okay, so I am measuring the distance. All right, and the abbreviation for the quantity is D. Okay, that is our symbol for the quantity is D. I am measuring the distance. What unit do I measure it in? I measure it in meters. Okay, so the unit is what we measure it in. So quantity is what we are measuring. And the unit is what we measure it in. So for example, distance is measured in meters. And hopefully we all know those ones. Distance is D, meters is M, little d, little m. Okay. Okay, we also know our quantity, time, is measured in the units, which is seconds. So time is T and seconds is S. All of those are lowercase. Do you guys know of anything that relates distance and time? Kilometers per hour. And what does kilometers per hour measure? How fast you're going. Yes. So that would be your speed, which is also known as velocity. Okay? So we're going to go to our next page. Speed, which is also known as velocity, we give it the symbol lowercase v. Do you guys remember what uppercase V stood for? Volume. We're going to learn another one where uppercase V stands for something else, but that's okay. That's the one we know already. In order to calculate the velocity, we take the distance and we divide it by the time, which is how we end up with kilometers, which is a distance, per hour. Hour is a time. Okay, we're going to be using meters per second, but you could use kilometers per hour or, centimeters per minute or whatever. Now, this formula, velocity equals distance over time, normally we don't write out all the words. Normally we just write the formula as little v, velocity, equals d for distance over t for time. I have one left. Excuse me. Only happens when I talk. So we have a question here, and we are going to learn this lovely method of solving equations. You are going to get 1 mark for every step that you complete correctly. So if you show me an answer at the end without doing the other steps, you might get 1 out of 10, even if the answer is correct. Okay? And if you're like, why am I getting so wound up about this? Why do I need to show all of this work? It's because next year's formulas will be harder. Not a lot harder, but a little bit harder. If you take physics in grade 11, the formulas will be harder again. If you take physics in grade 12, they will be harder again. And if you go to university, they get crazy. So what you need to do is you need to develop good habits now so that you'll have success when you hit those harder things. Okay? And I really like this method because it involves this picture of these cute little bear cubs. And you'll see they have question marks above their head. That's because they are guessing. So this method is called the Guess CUBS method. And guess, the G stands for given. The U stands for unknown. The E stands for the equation. S stands for solve. The next S stands for substitute. C stands for calculation. U stands for units. B stands for put a box around it. And then S can either stand for stop or sig figs, depending on whether you want to do that in which part or not. Okay? Step number 3, solve. will be required later, but we're not going to learn about it just yet, okay? So let's try a question using this method. When you look for your given quantities, that's our G, that's the first thing we're doing, the G in guess. You're going to look for things that have numbers. What numbers do we have in this question? We have a 20, okay, and we have a 5, and those have units with them. Always make sure that every number you write has a unit. So this is a given, and this is a given. And how we're going to write that down is we're going to write down, what is meters measuring? The unit meters measures what quantity? Distance. So what we're going to do is we're going to write DE for distance equals 20.0 meters. And if it says 20.0, you write 20.0. You don't write 20. Even if you're not going to do sig figs, that's a good habit to get into, okay? Because in grade 11, it will matter whether you write those or not. So how do you think we would write our other given quantity, the 5.0 seconds? Tell your partner what we would do. Hi, can I help you? No, off you go. Our other unknown, you have to say to yourself, what is it measuring? It's measuring time. What is the symbol for time? T. So we're going to write T equals 5.0 seconds, S. Okay, so we don't write out the whole word because we don't want it to take too long. We don't want it to take up too much space. So you're not writing out distance equals 20 meters, okay? You're just going to write D equals 20 M, 20.0 M. For your unknown, let's find my other pen here. For our unknown, you look for your question word, okay? So the unknown, there is our question word. And what is it asking us about? What is the velocity? Okay? And we know that the symbol for velocity is V, lowercase v. So we're going to put V equals, and then we're going to put a question mark. If we know the unit of V, we can put the unit there. If you don't know it, it will appear as you do the calculation. Does anyone know the unit of velocity in this question? In this one, it'll be meters per second. But if you didn't know that, it's okay to leave it blank. Okay? So for a while, when you're doing these questions, you're going to be getting some fill in the blanks, and it's going to say blank equals blank blank. Blank equals blank blank. Blank equals question mark blank. And you're going to fill in those blanks. It's going to get you in the habit of writing your quantity, your number, and your unit. Okay? Now, we're going to do our equation. Normally, we would call these formulas, but CUBS does not make any sense. So we're going to call it CUBS. So we're calling it an equation. And we know that velocity is equal to distance over time. You will be given any formulas that you need, any equations that you need. Okay? So our equation is V equals D over T. Hello. Yeah. So that's our G, that's our U, that's our E. Our next is to solve the formula for the unknown quantity. And when we solve, we're going to be learning this tomorrow, we get the unknown, 1, on the top, 2, by itself, and 3, on the left of the equation. So what you can see here is that our unknown is velocity, and it is on the top. Yes. And if you're like, how is it on the top? There's nothing on the bottom. Well, we could, if we wanted to, write this over 1. Yeah, you don't have to, but that is how you know that it is on the top. So V is on the top. Is it on the left? Yes. Is it by itself? Yes. So we don't need to do step 3. Okay, step 3 is already done. V is where it's supposed to be. And now we will substitute, and I'm going to rewrite the equation here so you can see the substitution. V equals D over T. And now you plug in on the top, instead of D, you write 20.0 meters. 20.0 meters. Instead of T, you write 5.0 seconds. And then you do the calculation. You should start bringing what from now on? Calculator. Okay, I have a few for lending, but you will have to give me your phone that I will have in my drawer, and then I will give it back to you once you are done with your calculator. It won't go in the cell hotel, it'll go in my drawer until you give me back the calculator. So don't lose. If you borrow a calculator from me, don't lose it. Okay? Now, 20 meters divided by 5 seconds. We do our calculation. What's 20 divided by 5? 4. All right. Our final answer should include units. That's the U. What are our units? We have meters over seconds, so we would just write meters over seconds. And we put a box around our final answer. And this one is very easy. Stop at a reasonable number of digits. Usually, if you have a whole bunch of decimal places, that's 2 to 4, but a nice round number like 4, you can just leave as 4. Now, if you want to do the enriched part, I can give you a little review on counting sig figs. Okay, I'll have that for you for tomorrow. This number here has 3 sig figs because zeros to the right of non-zero digits are significant if there is a decimal. How many sig figs would that give 5.0? 2 sig figs. When we multiply or divide, we round our answer to the smallest number of sig figs in the question. SF stands for sig figs in the question. So we have 3 sig figs and we have 2 sig figs. We would round our answer to 2 sig figs, which means that instead of 4 meters per second, if you want to do the enriched, it would become 4.0 meters per second. And don't worry, I'll give you more practice with this kind of thing, okay? I'm just introducing it today so you've seen it, okay? So that would be your enriched answer. So how would we mark this? I would be like, okay, we've got this here, that's 1. We've got our time, that's 2. We've got unknown, that's 3. If you forgot your unit or you forgot your D, you would only get a half, yeah? Your equation, that's 3. In this case, we didn't have to solve it, so I wouldn't give a mark for that. But substituting, that's 4. Calculating, 5. Units, 6. Box, 7. Reasonable number of digits, stop at a reasonable number of digits, 8. So that question would be out of 8. And you literally get 1 mark for putting a box around your answer. Your answer could be completely wrong. You could write apples and put a box around it, and you would get a mark. Yes? So it is a lot of work, but some of it's really easy. Okay, on our next page, this is page 24. So you can number it at the bottom, 24. And I promised that you would have time at the end of class to study. Would this be a good time to study? Okay, so we're going to do this one next day, which is actually good because there's a whole bunch of people away today and I would like them to see an example as well. So this is actually a good time to stop. All right, so the rest of the class, 20 minutes or so, is for studying for tomorrow's quiz.